In this video I'm going to take you through the level 2 spreadsheet task of your ICT test. If you'd like to follow along with this, you can get the files from the Pearson website, so qualifications.pearson.com. Go through our qualifications, functional skills, and you'll find ICT. Go to course materials, exam materials, and you'll find the question papers and the data files for everything you need, plus some more practice papers if you want some further practice. So we're going to start with set 19. So we've got our question paper. So we're going to enter our name, candidate number and centre number in the footer. I would suggest that if you haven't watched the level 1 spreadsheet videos, that you go and watch the level 1, because there's some of the more basic functions that are practiced in there, or you can just jump into this. So here's our spreadsheet, and we're asked to put our name and candidate number in the footer. So insert, header and footer, go to footer, enter your candidate details down here, and once you've done that, you must take it out of this header and footer view, so this sort of strange split screen view. So click anywhere in the spreadsheet and click this little button at the bottom that says normal, so it goes back to normal. Okay, so the first thing we're asked to do is, if their fitness level is less than 4, a swimmer cannot take part in the relay. Use a spreadsheet function in column F to display no if a swimmer cannot take part and yes if they can. So this is an if function. So with an if function, hopefully you've already had some teaching on this. So we're typing equals if and opening a bracket, and you get this little hint here. So the first thing is the logical test. The logical test is always telling the computer what cell you want it to look at and what you want to know about the contents of that cell. So we want to look at if their fitness level is less than a 4. So we're looking at this here because it tells us their fitness level. So we want to look at this number, and we want to know if their fitness level is less than 4. So we use the little arrows at the bottom. So less than is that way. So we want to know if that's less than 4, and then we put a comma. And you can see when you put the comma, it jumps to the next section. So that's all there is to the logical test. What cell do you want to look at? What do you want to know about that cell? So if true, the value if true is what we want the computer to do now. So if it is true, we're told to use a spreadsheet function in column F to display no if a swimmer cannot take part. So if it is less than 4, they can't take part, therefore we're putting the word no, and we need to type the word in speech marks above the number 2. So no, close your speech mark, and another comma. And the value if false is yes, because if it is more than 4, then they can take part. So again, speech mark, type the word yes, close speech mark, close bracket, enter. So we should find when we drag that down, if you're not used to dragging down, click back into this box, hover bottom right hand corner, and when it's that little black cross, you can hold your left mouse button, drag it to the bottom. This is called replicating, so you're basically copying the formula down and telling the computer to look at the next row down, and etc, etc. So you should be able to see wherever it finds a number less than 4, it's saying no, they can't take part. So We've then got an evidence box. Don't ignore the evidence boxes. You need to make sure you follow those. So we want this saved. So we're going to go File, Save As, go to Desktop, find our named file and save our sheet. And now we can continue. So we're asked to filter the data to show the details of swimmers who can take part, and then save this filtered list as a new spreadsheet with the file name swimming. So to filter, highlight your top row, go to Data, Filter, and you get these little drop down menus. And we want to know which people can take part, so we're going to use the drop down menu for column F, and we just want those that say yes. Then we're asked to calculate the maximum swim distance for each swimmer using this formula. So lung capacity divided by age and fitness level added together. Calculate the maximum swim distance for each swimmer in your filtered list. So it's only this list. So got a slightly complicated sum here, so we're doing equals lung capacity divided by age and fitness level added together. So for this one we need the brackets, so we want it divided by age plus fitness level. Click enter and replicate your formula. Then we're asked to calculate the total distance in column G of the swimming spreadsheet. So total distance is using the equals sum, because we're just adding these up. Close your bracket. So format the swimming spreadsheet. So format the data in column G to one decimal place. Add any other formatting that makes the spreadsheet clear and easy to understand. So making things clear and easy to understand involves bold and centering your column headings, making sure your columns are wide enough, and merge and center your main headings. So this main heading, highlight across so that you've got the same amount of columns that are being used, and click merge and center, and then you can do that for the other one as well. And then make sure your columns are wide enough, so you can do this by double clicking in between these letters at the top, or you can click and drag, whichever you feel more comfortable with. You can also add grid lines around to make things a little bit clearer. Just be careful you're not putting grid lines around blank cells. So we're not going to drag right the way down here and put the borders round, because we've now got it round blank bits. So we want to make sure we do those bits separately. So around this bit here, and then this bit is separate. You might want to think about whether it looks a bit better with these centered. That sort of looks a bit clearer. And we were also asked to format the data in column G to 1 decimal place. So column G to 1 decimal place. So these are the buttons that control the decimal places. This one will take it away until we've got 1 decimal place. So your spreadsheet should look like that. And then we're using the filtered list to create a chart showing the swim distance for each swimmer. So make sure you have a look at what it's specifically asking. You don't want to include everything in your chart. So we're showing the maximum swim distance for each swimmer. So we're going to highlight our swimmer column and let's go. Put our cursor where we want the next lot of information, but don't click. Hold down Control, hold down the left mouse button and drag to the bottom. Insert column chart. We'll always do a column chart unless we're told otherwise. And everything's in there for you. And then we label our chart using our column headings. So this one here would be swimmer, and this one here would be maximum swim distance. And then a full chart title, rewording what we were asked to do. So a chart to show the maximum swim distance for each swimmer. And then it says, if you notice, save the chart as a separate worksheet within the swimming spreadsheet. So to do that, we're just going to move this, but not by copying and pasting. So we're going to right click, move chart, new sheet, click OK, and it moves that. Now if you noticed all along here it was saying about saving it, I did carry on and ignore these bits, but now I need to be sure that I save it as what it's suggesting. So we're now going to do File, Save As, go to the desktop. We're saving it in our named file, but it wanted us to call this swimming. Be careful when you're using the name that they give you. Where they've used capitals, you use capitals. Type it exactly as it is. And that's that task complete. So we'll get rid of that and let's look at set 20. So for set 20 we are asked to open our spreadsheet, which is this one, and we're asked to enter our name and candidate number and center in the footer. I've already demonstrated how to do that, so if you can't remember, go back to the beginning. And we're then asked to calculate the income for each sport for January. So income, we've had 108 customers for windsurfing in January, and the price of windsurfing is £15. So we're going to be multiplying these two numbers. So equals this number here times, which is your star above the 8 or your asterisk, this number here. Now, because we're using this single cell, we need to put our dollar signs around the B for B19. Just this one, because we're telling the computer that we want it to use this all the way down. If we don't do it as we drag down, it's going to start using these numbers here and then eventually no numbers, so we're going to get a different answer. So this one we want to change because we've got a different number of customers in each row, but this one we want to stay the same. And we can replicate that down. Then we're going to do the same for the next one. So this one is going to be this number of customers, and we're multiplying by the kiteboarding cost. So again, we're going to need our dollar sign around this one. And the same for this one, but this time it's the water skiing. Okay, so calculate the total income for January. Now, I've skipped a bit here because it does say task D is replicate the formula for each sport for each month, which I've already done. Replicate meaning drag it down. So calculate the total income for January. So the total income is going to be adding these three numbers together. We don't want the whole things, we just want the income. So it's going to be equals this one plus this one plus this one. Replicate. So the target income per month is stored in cell B23. Stefan wants to know if the target was met each month. Use a spreadsheet function to display met if the total income was equal to or greater than the target, and not met if it was not. So we want to know whether the number in here is greater than or the same as this number down here. So if function equals if open bracket. So we want to tell the computer what cell we're looking at. So we want it to look at this one, and we want the computer to tell us if it's more than, but we also want the same as, because it said equal to, so we put equals. Equals means find a match. So this one here that is 8,400 still met the target. So we want to know if it's more than or equal to this amount here. And again, you'll notice it's a single cell, so as we drag down, we don't want that one to move, so we want that to have the dollar sign, comma. So the value if true is what we want the computer to do now. So use a spreadsheet function to display met. So we're going to type met in speech marks and comma, the value if false is not met. Close our bracket. Replicate. So as I said, we've already done task D because I jumped ahead a little. Format the spreadsheet. Hopefully you know what that is. So we're going to format the currency first, so not the number of customers, but anything that should be money needs to be set to currency. Don't forget to do the little table. People always forget the little table there. I would center that one and fold and center these. They're actually already centered. Merge and center main title. You could make that bold if you wanted to. And center those. Make the columns suitable widths. Now it says format all currency values to show pounds, so you can kind of use your own judgment. However, because there's no pence involved here, I would be inclined to get rid of the decimal point. So you could leave those like that. And you can center these if you think that makes it look a little more clear. So again, with this one we've got a filter next, so we're going to save our spreadsheet at this point. I'll save as desktop. Pick your main file, save it into there, and then we can carry on. So we're asked to filter the spreadsheet to show only the information for the months when the total income was more than 11,000. So highlight data filter, and we want to filter to show only the information from the month when the total income was more than 11,000. So you can take off anything that is. So note it says more than 11,000, therefore 11,000 shouldn't be included. It doesn't say equal to. More than, it doesn't say 11,000 or more. So just looking at these ones here. Click OK. And then use your filtered. So you could save the spreadsheet now if you wanted to. I'm going to carry on. Use your filtered list to create a suitable chart to show the total income for each month. So total income for each month means we're doing this one and this one. I'm going to label, so this one is month and this one is income or total income, and then our full chart title. Once we're happy, right click, move chart, new sheet. And then don't forget to save the chart as a separate worksheet, which is the moving within high income. So we've now got to remember to save this one. As high income. And then that's it for that one. So let's look at the last set, set 21. So set 21, open the orders. So this is our spreadsheet, and it's pointing out that we have two worksheets, one called orders, one called delivery, which is a clue that this one's going to be a VLOOKUP. But first of all, we're asked to work out the value added tax is added to the basic cost of an order. VAT is charged at 20%. Enter a formula to calculate the cost including VAT for each order. Now, ordinarily when you're working out VAT, you would have another column and you would just be working out the VAT by, we multiply by the percentage, so it would be our basic cost times the percentage with the percent sign. And then when it came to cost including VAT, you would be doing that plus that. However, on this one, they haven't given you this column, so you've got to do both steps in one. So we're going to do equals open our bracket, and we want to do this times 20%, close bracket, plus this, because that's our whole. Alternatively, we could add the percentage to 100% and multiply by 120%. So we could do that times 120%, which will give us the same answer. So 100% is always our whole. We want an extra 20%, so we've added the 20% to the 100. And then we're going to replicate that. So the delivery charge depends on the delivery code. The charge for each code is shown in the delivery worksheet. Enter a formula to calculate the delivery charge for each order. So this is your VLOOKUP. So the first thing with a VLOOKUP before you start typing anything is to look for the information. So this is our complete spreadsheet, and we're going to use this information to enter that into the other spreadsheet. So our column 1 is the delivery code, and our column 1 is always our lookup value. But equally, the lookup value has to be something that appears in both charts or both tables. So the only thing that appears in both of these tables is the delivery code. So therefore that has to be our lookup value. So we type equals VLOOKUP, open bracket, and we get a hint here. So our lookup value, like I've just explained, is our delivery code. So we're just going to click on our cell reference. We want it to do look up that one, and we put a comma. Then our table array, we go to our complete table, and now we're here, we can stay here. Everything else relates to this table in front of us. So we're going to highlight our table of information, and we're going to put our dollar signs around, and this time, because it's a selection, we're putting dollar sign around both letters. So this is saying to it, I don't want you to move this, I want you to keep on that selection. And we put a comma. The column index number is telling the computer which column here contains the information that you're trying to put into the other spreadsheet. So we're trying to put the delivery charge in, and we don't use the letters because it says column index number. So we count how many columns there are. So this one's got 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, and the information that we want in is in number 2. So we literally put the number 2 in there. Put another comma, and then for the purposes of the test you will be doing, your answer to this bit will always be false. So you get the option of true or false. Double click false, close your bracket. Enter a formula to calculate the total cost for each order. So the total cost for each order is going to be adding the cost including VAT and the delivery charge together. We've already included this, so we're not doing that one as well, because that figure is put in to this figure here. So we just need to go equals this cell here plus that there, and click enter. And then we can replicate that. Now we're on to the formatting. So format the orders worksheet. So the orders worksheet, so hopefully by now you're okay with the formatting. Just as a note, you've also got the opportunity in this drop down menu here to change things to different date formats. So if you've got a spreadsheet that's got a lot of dates in and they're in different formats, make sure you put them, because we like consistency, so change them all to one format, whichever one you wish. You've also got the option of percentage, which occasionally on some of the questions you do need to change figures to percentage, so that's all in that drop down menu there. And then we're filtering again, so filtering the table, hopefully by now you know that, and how to make a chart you should know by now, so I will leave you to practice that and see how you get on. Well, that should be all that you need to know for your level 2 test.